everyone. This is Loa here on another edition of the Indigenous Entrepreneurs Network, where I get the pleasure of speaking with exciting Indigenous people who are up to really interesting things and starting and running their businesses. And today I have the pleasure of introducing you to a fabulous fashion designer located in the Fraser Valley by the name of Linda K. Peters of Ringing Bell Robes. Linda, thank you for being here today with us.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. This is very exciting.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You look beautiful. Your designs look gorgeous. I can't wait to get into it and hear more of your story. And I'm sure our viewers are also wondering the same. How did you get started? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it's kind of a long story. I've been sewing for quite a long time. I actually started as a child when my grandmother taught me to use her treadle machine. And the very first thing I made was a pair of curtains for her. And she kept that on her log cabin for like forever. She never took it off. And then I started sewing my own clothes after I made some doll clothes. And then I started as a teenager make my own clothes. And in high school, I made my own clothes. And then I actually quit sewing for almost 20 years because I got married and I had a son. And so I really didn't get back into sewing again until 1996 is when I started sewing again. And this time I started putting native designs on my clothing, Cree and Ojibwe and Coast Salish designs on my clothing. And I got started doing that by a lady that came to work with me at the Seabird band office. And her name was Carol Mason. And I always like to give her credit for getting me started in fashion design because she was a designer herself from the Blood Reserve in Alberta. So I would bring my clothes to work and she would critique it and, tell me what to, how to things worked. And then I started doing fashion shows after that.
Oh, amazing. And you have been invited to Paris and New York. And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's, I started 1996 and then I started locally with fashion shows at the Seabird band office, at our community and up in Merritt and then Kamloops and Vancouver. And then I started going across the province. I went to Alberta and Saskatchewan and Ontario. And then I moved started doing some shows in the States. I did one in Montana. And then I got invited to New York Fashion Week. That would be my big one at the time, which was, I believe, in 2015. I was invited along with two other ladies, First Nations women, to show our clothing at the New York Couture Fashion Week. So we were the three First Nations designers to show our clothing at the New York Couture Fashion Week in the 10 years that they were in existence. So it was very exciting for all of us when we went there. They treated us really well in New York. And it was a lot of excitement. They gave us our own coordinator. They even gave us our own seamstress in case we had some last minute sewing to do. They had all the models there. We just go out and pick, we need you, you, and you.
Wow, that
was really, yeah. It was exciting. And then after the show, they had a big media room where they invited the newspaper and television people. And it was very, very exciting. I was so honored to be invited to something as elaborate and as New York.
That must have been a total dream come true, Linda. Right, coming from, because where did you grow up? Did you grow up here in the Fraser Valley?
It was that I would end up in New York City. It wasn't something I had planned because I didn't really see myself in that capacity, I guess, And I was scared to go, almost didn't go, and I decided to go. I'm going to go anyway.
Oh, good for you. Well, that's part of being an entrepreneur is just feeling the fear and doing it anyway, right? Knowing that, no matter what, it's going to work out. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like it worked out very well for you because you've made is this your full-time business?
Well, it's working into that now. I just recently retired about maybe 3 years ago. Maybe it's four. I'm not sure. I was retired, but I'm not really retired. So now I'm doing more. I'm doing more in fashion now. I did go to Paris last year, which was very, very exciting as well. We did a fashion show in the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower. We had a
Wow.
choice of going downtown with the rest of the group or going on the showing our clothing on the Eiffel Tower, and I wanted to do it on the Eiffel Tower. I don't
Oh,
know, it just that's something that's so exciting.
oh,
And I also took with me four of my regular models. I have a group of girls that have been modeling for me, some of them for 20 years since they were 16 years old. So I took four of them that could come. I took Rena Lewis and Charity Joe and Dana Nelson and my niece Judith Pete. And we all did all kinds of fundraising to get them there. And they got to model on the Eiffel Tower, like how exciting was that for
that's
them,
an
you know?
incredible experience for all of you. And how wonderful that you're bringing the girls along to have this kind of exposure to the fashion world of fashion and also business, right?
Hmm.
Who knows
Yeah.
what could spur how this could spur their interest in possibly going into design as a business.
Yeah, or modeling.
Or
They're really
modeling,
good
yeah.
models. When we were in Paris, a lot of the other designers asked to use my models
Oh,
to
yeah.
show their clothing as well. So they got to model for probably almost all 10 other designers as well.
Oh, that's incredible. Good for them. Wow. And so this must I can really tell that you're very passionate about your business and about the world of fashion and also bringing the indigenous culture into it. So can you tell us a little bit about your beautiful pieces behind you and were those in some of the fashion shows?
Yeah. Well, my source of pride for me is being able to show my culture on anything that I make. There's very few clothing that I make that don't have some sort of an Aboriginal symbol to it. Um, this piece here
Gorgeous.
is a white buckskin. It's deer hide,
Yeah.
and this has a bit of a history because I originally made it. I was commissioned to make it for a bridal magazine out of Calgary. It's called Lux Bridal Magazine,
Oh,
and they wanted to put a white wedding dress in their magazine. So I made the dress for them, and we did a photo shoot in Banff, Lake Louise, I believe it was. We did a photo shoot there, and then maybe the following year, there was a young lady from Enoch First Nations, Ashley Collingbull, who is an actor and a facilitator, and she's also into pageantries. She put a call out for anybody who had any traditional wear, and a few people tagged me on Facebook. So I followed up with her and I told her that I had this dress here, and
wow.
so I sent her a picture of it, and she loved it.
Oh,
So I I altered it to fit her, and
right.
then I sent it off to her, and she was going to compete in a pageantry in Belarus, Russia.
Okay.
And so she went. She needed it for the cultural piece of her competition,
Okay.
and so she wore it and she won.
Holy smokes, that's incredible.
It was so exciting. I was home all by myself, and I was just
You
jumping around all by myself. I was all excited.
I can't even imagine the feeling. It must have just been euphoria. Holy smokes. And it is gorgeous. Have you had some other women ask you to make a replica of that dress for them?
Yes, I've had lots of
Yes.
people inquire. I haven't made one identical to that, but I have made other buckskin dresses.
Oh,
I have one back.
oh we're
Well,
cutting
you
it.
can. Oh, I do get lots of inquirers. I don't put this one in fashion shows anymore because I don't want it to get. I'm trying to keep it in the best shape possible.
Sure,
I
yeah.
actually would like to see it in a museum
Oh,
personally
I
because
could I could
it
see
has
the
a history. It's the first time that the pageantry Mrs. Universe title was won by
wow.
a First Nations person, and the first time Canada ever brought that title home. So it has a bit of a history.
Okay.
So I would like to see it in a museum where people can actually see it.
I think that that is a fantastic place for it.
Mhm.
That is, yeah, I could see how that is such a source of pride for you. And
Yeah.
congratulations on that incredible experience and win. And wow, I'm gonna have to look up the her wearing the dress, and I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, it is somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a video there somewhere.
Oh, so exciting, Linda. Amazing. And then what are the other pieces that you have behind you? Can you tell us
I
a
have a few. This turquoise one right here is actually the two middle pieces. The turquoise one and the blue and red one beside it are my two newest pieces, and I just put those in a fashion show. The turquoise one actually is the first time I ever worked with sequins, and that fabric comes from New York City, actually.
Oh, neat.
So it was my first time working with sequins, and was a learning experience, but it was exciting, and it turned out beautifully. So I was happy with it. I made a couple of sequins outfits for that show, and the next one to it, the blue and
The red.
red one with flowers on it, is actually they're made from kukum scarves. And you'll
Oh,
see a lot of other designers are using them for their clothing as well. And so this is the first time I made a full dress out of kukum scarves. That's two scarves.
you're joking.
No, they're just two scarves. I never cut one piece off of it at all.
What? That is incredible. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
Love
it's really
it.
beautiful.
Holy smokes. And then the
And
last one?
this other one here off to the right, most of the fashion shows that I do, I'm always trying to create awareness for murdered and missing Indigenous women, and so I do a lot of fashion shows that are, creating awareness for that, as well as violence against women and things like that. And so I created this piece in honor of murdered and missing Indigenous women, and as well as for my mom, and as well as for a niece of mine who went missing in 2018, I
Right.
believe. Yeah, and we searched for her for 4 months, and she was found deceased
Mm.
in the Fraser River. And so I made this dress in her honor, as well as my mom, because my mom also encountered violence when I was a child, when I was only 8 or 9 years old. And nothing ever happened to the men that, you know, raped her and threw her in the bush and left her to die. So they got away with it. So this is, I'm like trying to be her voice. She survived her ordeal. She's 96 years old now, and she's still with us. She's in a care home close by here. But I wanted to be able to at least speak about it so that she has a voice. So this dress here represents murdered and missing Indigenous women, and the women that have violence against them, so that they have a voice.
Oh,
So
what an
that's,
amazing, amazing thing to do, and to have such an important cause that you work in and that you communicate through your business, Linda. That's, that's so amazing. I think that
yeah.
that's so wonderful that you do that. And so when you're at the fashion shows, do you explain, um, like the model wears the dress, and do you, like, in terms of bringing awareness, how do you describe what the dress means? Is it through the media or?
Usually at the end of the fashion show, I've been showing this one here. I call this my teepee dress, because it's in the shape of a teepee,
Love
but
it.
it's also still in progress, because I'm at the very top. I haven't attached the teepee flaps. That's where you can really tell it when it's a teepee. So it's still in progress. But also what's going to go on there is a group of young ladies from back east in Ontario sent me a whole bunch of red jingles, Indigenous women. So red jingles are going to go on this dress as well.
Oh,
So it's a dress in progress. And I always, at the end, I always talk and tell people what it's about. Because on there's you'll see women figures, some are bigger than others, and some represent moms and aunties and sisters and children who have lost their mother or their auntie. On that's what this dress represents. So I always explain that to people so they know what
Oh,
it's about.
that's incredible. It's incredible because it really does. It tells such an important story, and it's amazing that you're able to do that through your work, Linda. Just yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm honored to be able to do that. You know, it means more to me than just making a dress.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I can understand that for sure. Well, it's incredible. Not only are you insanely talented, but you're also a social entrepreneur. You have a cause-related business that is, and you know, when you started your business, I think I read that you never knew that this was going to take off the way it has. Like, can you give our viewers an idea of, you know, starting a business is not the easiest thing to do, right? There's a whole bunch of obstacles and challenges and cash flow issues and things that pop up. So what was it that kept you on course and kept you thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep going for it because I love it. And then all of a sudden it's turned into a very viable business. So how has that happened for you?
well, first of all, you really have to love what you do, you know, because it is a lot of hard work, and it's you're not going to get rich quick.
Right.
So I advise everybody to learn as much as they can, be determined, and to never give up. I never take no for an answer, because if somebody tells me no, there's always a way that you can go around or over or above to get what you want.
I
You know,
love
like I never in a million years thought I'd be showing my clothing in New York or Paris. But if I can do it, anybody can do that. You just have to put your mind to it and go for it. There's lots of challenges, you know, like one is, you know, manufacturing. I would like to get my clothes manufactured here in Canada,
Oh
but there's not very many affordable manufacturers out there. And a lot of the designers are going overseas, which I don't have anything against that, except I would like to see my clothing, say, made in Canada. You know, that's what I would like to see. And so I'm still haven't given up. I'm still gonna look for manufacturers, and you know, I need to make some bread and butter pieces, what they call them,
yeah, yeah.
that are affordable to people, because a lot of my clothing are not affordable to
Right.
everybody. Yeah, I kind of target people in the arts and entertainment industry.
Oh,
I want to dress our Indigenous people that are in the arts and entertainment
love
industry,
it.
and I have had a few outfits on the red carpet, so I'm quite proud of that.
Oh, I bet I would be too if I was you. That's amazing.
Mhm.
And you never know, you know, the more that you gain exposure and you gain your company gains visibility, the more people in entertainment the industry are going to see your work, right? So it's definitely makes sense to keep on putting yourself out there, and which obviously you're doing, and now you're getting recognized at all the high fashion shows around the world. So it's
The other thing is, there's a big interest in indigenous anything,
sure.
really. You
Yeah,
know,
I
like
agree.
there's a big push on it now. When I was growing up, I mean, nobody wanted to wear anything native. Nobody even wanted to admit they were native, actually. It took me a long time to actually be proud to be a First Nations person, because of the racism that I encountered as a child. You know, and I was ashamed to be a First Nations when I was, you know, in before my teens. It took me a long time to get to where I am today, where I feel really proud to be a First Nations person. And there's no way in a million years that anybody can make me feel ashamed of who I am today.
I love it. And I mean, who you are is wonderful. So I'm glad you're out there and helping to gain more exposure for not only what you're doing, but also across, there's so much talent in the Indigenous community, you know, just so
There
much
is.
creativity and talent. And you are the first entrepreneur. So there you go. Entrepreneurs also in your blood too. And so what's your vision for 2 to 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself, Linda? Oh, wait.
Well, I want to, like I mentioned, I want to start, because I'm kind of up in age, I really wish I would have started a long time ago.
You are.
And because I did, because at one time I did want to open a store, but now that I'm retired, I think I've kind of changed that vision a little bit. What I want to do now is I want to stock stores. I don't want to
Yeah.
run a store. I want to get some of my items reproduced, and I want to start stocking some stores and let somebody else sell it. And so that's my goal now, is to get some items reproduced. I would also like to make bolts of my own fabric with my own design on it. Then I can have, make dresses out of that as well. There's a lot of First Nation designers across Canada that people aren't really aware of. There's so much talent out there. I've seen other women designers that have made their own bolts of fabric with their design on it. So yeah, I really want to do that too. And then I think another goal would be, there's 2 more big fashion shows I would like to do. I would like to go to London, England Fashion Week, as well as Milan Fashion Week,
Oh.
because the 4 major fashion cities in the world is New York City, Paris, London, and Milan. Now, I want to be able to say I've shown my clothes at all 4 major fashion cities of the world.
Oh, and I bet you anything that is right around the corner. I'm going to ask to speak with you again in a few months, and let's see if you've been there yet. I wouldn't be surprised if you told me you have.
I also want to mention Stella Business Association Community Futures, because they helped me a lot. They helped me get to New York, and they're still helping me. I'm a member of the BC Stella Business Association. They have lots of services available for entrepreneurs, people that are starting off in their business. They got all kinds of services there, that they workshops and things like that they provide to help people gain tools on how to move forward in their business. And they were really good with me. And
Rose,
I would recommend them to anybody trying to start their own business.
Oh, for sure. Thanks for mentioning that. I actually just interviewed Roseo a couple days ago on this for this network. Yeah. So, and she talked about you too.
Oh yeah.
So we both did.
Yeah, she's a lovely lady. I love her.
Yeah, she really is. She's wonderful. And what they do there is fantastic. It's I've run some of the business workshops because I do marketing and sales workshops. So I've run that. We've worked together on a couple different occasions, and they really are wonderful people, and they're offering services that are really important to people living in the Fraser Valley who are of Indigenous heritage that want to start and run businesses. Everything from starting your business plan to how do you get funded and how do you grow and expand further. So it's really important too that people reach out for help, right?
Yes, for sure.
It can be a bit of a lonely place sometimes.
Yes, it is. Yep. Especially when you're not close to fellow designers and things like that. It's a good thing I'm connected on Facebook with a lot of the Aboriginal designers, and so we share information and things like that back and forth.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It is really important, I think, to connect with others, because otherwise, it does get to be, entrepreneurship can be a little bit lonely sometimes.
Yeah, actually it is. If you don't make connections and find yourself some resources, it's, like with my training, I've actually never had any fashion design training. I'm basically self-taught. That's the hardest way to go about things. So I would suggest that people take a fashion design course, so that you know how you're putting things together. It's all trial and error with me.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's definitely worked out for you, but it does help to shorten that learning curve, right? If you can learn from other people who have already been there, done that, and so they can walk you through the steps, and there's not as much trial and error required. And so what advice would you give to other people who are thinking about starting a business, who are Indigenous and maybe think, I don't have a master's degree, or I don't have any specific, product or service that I'm thinking about? Like, what would you say if someone said, I want to start a business, but I don't know where do I even go with it? Or is it just a pipe dream? I lost you there.
I would suggest to them that they need to do some research to find themselves some resources, to take some training. I went about it the hard way, but I think nowadays there's all kinds of training out there that people can take to help them get their business started. You know, and there's funding available out there. There's grants available out there. Find yourself a proposal writer or a grant writer and some resources, and that's the route I would suggest. And not to give up either, and to dream big, because the bigger you dream, I think, you can reach those stars. Anybody can reach those stars. You just have to dream big and go for it. Don't give up. Don't take no for an answer. If that's your passion, just do it. You know, like I said, if I can do it, then so can everybody else.
Well, I'm with you there. And the same thing happened with me as well. Like I decided to start my marketing company, and then from there it grew into business training when I was asked to teach for the Squamish Nation. So it really is about doing something that you love to do and doing your research, finding the needs in the marketplace, figuring out who you can help, and then and like you said, taking action, right? Because one thing to have a dream, but then it's important that you start to take those action steps and figure out, you know, even if it's taking that one course to assess, like, what, you know, I have an idea, but how do I start? Like, what does entrepreneurship look like? And what are the steps that I need to take in order to start my company? And so it
the other thing is find yourself a mentor. Find yourself a mentor. Important to have somebody, and I'd be willing to take anybody on as well. If anybody wants to give me a call, want to know something, I'd be willing to help them along the way too. Because you know, it's hard, like you say, it can be a lonely place.
For sure. I know, Linda, that's so nice of you to offer that. I'm sure there's a number of young ladies or young men out there that are just looking for some advice and some guidance, you know, so it's really nice that you're open to that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I just wanted to, I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, I wanted to mention that I am from Red Lake, Ontario, Northern Mining Community, and I'm also now a Seabird Island band member in Agassiz, BC, and I live in Hope, BC. So I just wanted to make mention of that, of my roots.
Wonderful. Well, it's just been such a pleasure having you share your business journey with us and telling us just about yourself and how you're living a life that you never knew was possible, but now it's like a dream come true. And so you're such an inspiration, Linda. And it's and other than that as well is that you're also got this, you have the social aspect to what your business does, and it's very cause related. And I think that is super important in today's day and age, that our business not only exists to make a profit, but and to fulfill a dream that we have, but also to give back, right? And do something good in the world. And it's really clear that you're meeting all the three of those objectives. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being on the show today. And we look forward to catching up with you in a couple months and seeing if you go to Milan or what fashion show you're doing next.
Yeah, I haven't decided which Milan or London yet, but it'll be one of those two.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt about that whatsoever. And how would someone contact you? What would be?
Well, they can contact me through Facebook, Lynn K. Facebook. I also have a page there with I try to put as many as my designs and things on there so people can take a look, or if they want to order. I do mostly custom orders right now, but I said I will be manufacturing pieces later. So if they want to get hold of me, Facebook, Lynn K, or Lynn K Designs, or if they wanted to.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you, Linda. It's just been such a wonderful experience talking to you today, and I look forward to keeping in touch and following what you're doing and seeing your next designs. I'm sure you're going to be coming up with something new.
I will be. Well, thank you for inviting me to do the interview. It was very exciting.
Oh,
nice to meet you.
I agree. And I just lost you a little bit. The internet seems to be a little bit spotty, so hopefully it's captured everything we've spoken about today. But we have,
hope so.
So we have way to contact you. And also, you're open to mentorship opportunities if anybody wants to speak with you about how to start a business and the design fashion industry. So that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you. And thank you to our viewers for watching today. And do, if you enjoyed today's episode, which I'm sure you have, do make sure that you subscribe below and watch for more exciting Indigenous people doing really amazing things with their business. So thanks for
Okay,
watching, everyone.
thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.